Hello, I thought I would do a video based on my favourite books that I've read this year. There's a few here. I've read about 35 books, 40 books, read loads of short stories and a bit of poetry, but these are all just the novels that I've read and which I've enjoyed. They're my favourite ones. They're not books that have been released in 2025, but they're books I've enjoyed just this year. And yeah, we'll go through them and it's a log for the future, and I can always look back and be like, well, did I read that? Why the fuck didn't? But no, I don't think I'll be like that. My taste won't change that much, I don't think. The first one, these are no particular order. There's one that I could probably say is my favourite read, but they're in no particular order. Like, they're just books I've enjoyed. This was the first one's Michael Moorcock's Coram trilogy. It's a bit cheating. There's 3 books in this, but I enjoyed all 3 of them. All 3 of them's kind of one sort of story, one part in Coram's the Eternal Champion sequence by Michael Moorcock, and he's my second favourite character that he's created. And they're not massive stories, novels. They're 170, 180 pages there on average, but you could read it all probably in one go. A lot of fantasy readers, that's not the biggest fantasy novel in the world. It's a doable for if you want to read it all in one go. I done it in parts because I like shorter bits, shorter work. But in a space of 2 months, I must have went through these, and every time was like an escape into another world, and it was an adventure, and I really enjoyed following this character Coram. And I've read the 4th book as well, and I've 2 more left to read of Michael Moorcock's Coram series, and I've got some for next year, which I'll show in another video of books that I'm hoping to read in 2026. But that was very good, very enjoyable. He's definitely my second favourite character after Elric of Malnivery. Another one, it's a classic, but it's my 3rd time reading it, and I seen the hardback and I seen this edition. I thought I had to get it, and that is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, one of the greatest books ever written. You don't even have to be a fantasy reader to enjoy this. This is just a brilliant story and a brilliant novel for anyone, any readers. This book comes with the illustrations that J.R.R. Tolkien done himself. Some of them are coloured, and some of them are great artwork in it. Seeing it in the coloured really makes a difference in my opinion. And there's better editions out there. This is just your bog standard hardback edition, but I think it cost me £22. But that'll do me. I know there's dear editions out there, and they're a lot more fancier than this probably. But when I seen this here, and I thought I wouldn't mind rereading it again. I didn't really want to get out my hammered paperback that I've had for years and years and years. When I seen this hardback with this great cover, which is my favourite cover of The Hobbit, which is again painted and illustrated by J.R.R. Tolkien. The paperback I have has the movie tie-in sort of cover, and I thought, right, I want to pick up this cause I've read it 3 times in my life, and I know there's going to be another at least 2 times I think in my life that I'll read this book. It's like one you'll read it every decade. Definitely read it every decade anyway. It's that good. It's one of my favourite books of all time. And even reading it the 3rd time, I enjoy it more now, I think, as an adult as I did when I read it first when I was about 15. I read this, and then I read it in my 20s, and now I'm 38 and I've read it, and I think I've enjoyed it more as a 38-year-old than I did when I was 20 odd. So strange that, but yeah, that's the way it goes, isn't it? Another book I really enjoyed is by Howard Andrew Jones, another fantasy novel, Shadow of the Smoking Mountain. This is the 3rd book of the Hannafar series. There were supposed to be 5, but sadly Howard Andrew Jones passed away at the start of the year. Tragic illness. I think he had brain cancer, which was absolutely tragic because he was a great writer, and he was doing this series, which in my opinion is one of the greatest modern fantasy series that was out in recent years, and he never finished it. But the good thing is it's still good in its own way, because you've got 3 books here. I'm going to show them all because I do enjoy them that much. I think we need to get a shout out for them. Like, that's your first one, which I read a couple of years ago maybe. And then the second one, that started the Shattered Land. Second one is the City of Marble and Blood, which is very good. So it is. And it's all set in short story format, where this character Hannafar has to save his people from. It's a little bit loosely based on the Roman Empire and Hannibal and all that, but you don't need to know all the history of like real life history to enjoy these. These are great books in their own. Great, every book, every chapter is like a short story, but they're all interconnected in that big. I think the way he says it was, it's an episode of a season, and every episode is like its own, or every chapter is like its own episode of a big full season. But then every book's just first season two. You know what I mean? So you could read the first one and then be done. Pick up the second one, be done, and read the third one, and you could be done. It's not like you have to read book 4 and 5 to enjoy this series. This is a series that can be enjoyed. I wouldn't read them. I wouldn't read the second one and then third and then first. I would read them in sequence. But what I'm trying to say is, don't let it put you off thinking that it's not a finished series. I'll not read it. No, I do recommend picking these up. Nope, hold on, pause it. Sorry, I had to pause the video there. Wee girl bundled me. So yes, as it says, do not let this being not a finished series to put you off. I would recommend picking it up, and it's a shame that Howard Andy Jones passed away tragically at the start of the year, because he was working really hard, I think, on his fourth book until he got bad news of his illness, and he didn't last too long after it. So I really feel sorry for his family and friends, and yes, I'll treasure these hardback editions for the rest of my life. These aren't going anywhere. These are books that I will treasure in my library for forever, and I'm glad I got the hardbacks when they first came out, and I got them all in pre-order and everything. So I was glad to be able to get them here in Northern Ireland. Actually, quite easy enough, because I thought I was going to have trouble getting them, but no, Amazon helped me out there. So yeah, Howard Andrew Jones. Say he will be missed. Right, what else was I reading? I'm trying to move books about here. I need to get, as I say, I'm starting this YouTube and videos and book reviews, and I'm hoping for the new year 2026 to be a new thing for me to do as a hobby as well as my reading. It's just a place to log my thoughts, and I'm hoping to get a better camera at some stage, and maybe if I get a bit of confidence, maybe actually be in front of the camera. But I'm not there yet. Maybe after, if I get a few people watching and give me a bit of encouragement, maybe get in front of the camera. But as I said, I don't really feel it at the minute. It's just strange for me at the minute, but I'll keep going. I don't have to drag on here but nothing, just about myself. But the next book that I enjoyed was Shusaku Endo Silence, which is set in Japan in the medieval period. Not medieval period, what would they call their period? I don't think they call it medieval. Feudal Japan. And this is about Christian, the Catholic Church and emissaries trying to bring Christianity into Japan. And this Father Rodriguez, Portuguese Jesuit priest, set sail for Japan, and then I think he got missing, or it's apparently he was like a heretic, or he got abdicated and all. And these guys, his students, couldn't believe it, so they went to Japan to try and find him, to discover the truth behind what he done. The rumors, is it really true? They renounced his faith, and so these Japanese Catholic priests go over to try and find out the story of what happened to this man. But it gets very good, because when they get there, they meet these Japanese Christians, but they have to hide their faith and their religion, because the samurai are trying to do away with Christianity, and it gets really dark at places, and it's sad. It's a sad story too, but it shows you the courage of the priests as well, holding on to their faith through all the darkness. And he's seeing the actual normal wee Japanese people that are like peasants, and how much faith they had in the Lord, and they go through it, and it even surprises the priests how strong and how courageous that these Japanese people were. And it's a great read. I've read now a few books from him. He's a Christian Japanese, Catholic Japanese guy, and he really puts a lot of his religion into his books, but his faith and all. And I love Japanese novels. As I say, it's, in a way, there's usually a country in the world where there's something about it and it just kind of talks to you when you're reading the novels and you're reading. I think Japan's mine. I've read books from all around the world, and obviously not in their language, translated to English. But I have read loads of books all around the world, history books going back ancient Greece, South America, Africa, and for some reason I always keep going back to the Japanese authors, and he's one that I've read now a few, and my favourite Japanese author. And I read a short story collection that was released for the first time in English. I think it was this year, maybe it was the end of last year. I can't remember, but it was Yukio Mishima's Voices of the Fallen Heroes and Other Stories. I love this guy's writing. It's strange. It's very poetic, beautiful narrative, and he is a flawed character, yes, but that's what makes him a great writer in a sense too. Where he's talking about, you know, the spirit of Japan and the samurai and the warriors, and there's the actual story in this, Voices of a Fallen Heroes, was a brilliant story, and it's worth the money just reading it. There's all your stories here. Oh, they're all good. Everyone. The Peacock, that was a good one too. I remember reading The Peacock and thinking that was just strange but brilliant. It stood out to me. But they all did. They were all very good. I don't know what would be the first book you would get from this author, but I've read now quite a bit of his work, and when I seen this coming out, and it was some of the stories in it was just, and it was at the end of his life. A lot of these stories, so you get to see him at that time of his life when, he's a bit suicidal, thinking, not suicidal, but you knew he had that sort of, there was beauty in death and sacrifice and all that sort of stuff, and even the soldiers in the Second World War, and the Voices of the Fallen Heroes, of how Japan's let them down, and because they left their sort of samurai code and fallen more into the Western world of thinking, and you can see he was a bit annoyed at the way Japan's culture was moving. He was more old school, I think. And if you ever type his name in and look up pictures and read the history of him, which he's a famous guy, you probably already know. A lot of people know him. But if you don't and you look him up, and it's an interesting story in his own right. Not even just talking about his books, just the man's life and what he did at the end of his life. It's a video on its own. But he's at the minute him and Shisaku Endo, hope I'm not butchering his name, they would be my two favourite Japanese authors at the minute. I've read a lot of Haruki Murakami and all these other wee bits and bobs and books that just Japanese authors from going back in the past, but I always see when I see his name, and I haven't read it, I pick it up every time because I know that I will enjoy it. There'll be more Japanese books, I think, on this channel in the future, and if there's any people can recommend me, if this video pops up on your channel and you decide to get this far, let me know. I wouldn't mind knowing, because I do enjoy Japanese writers. There's something about them. So there is. And I read also, and I know this is not for everybody, but it was for me, and I enjoyed it. It was Chilling Lowly, The Heart of Christ and Sinners and Sufferers, should I say. This was a story about just Jesus' love for us all, and what the New Testament, and picking out parts of it and explaining it to you and all in a way. And it's just, you're getting the love of Christ and knowing what he meant saying these words, saying all his speeches, the meaning of the word lowly overlaps with that of gentle, and it just gets more deeper into Jesus' love for us and why why he died for us and risen again. If you're a Christian, you'll this is a good book to read. If you're newly getting into Christianity and you want to know a wee bit, learn a bit about Jesus and his the heart of Christ, as they say, his love for us. It's a good book. It was worth the read. But as I say, I know that's not for everybody. It's not literary novel. It's not a fantasy entertainment train ride, But it's, for me, it was a good book, and I like this illustration with the wee black sheep on its own in here. But he's still a part of the flock, It's good. It's a good book. Now, these are ones I think were my favourite, but there's maybe a few more I should have brought, but I don't want to go on and on with the video, so I'm just going to jump now to my favourite of the year. And I've done it in a previous video because I only read it there a couple weeks ago, and that would be Brian by Jeremy Cooper. This book spoke to me personally, and it was just one of the ones where I went in the library and I seen it. I thought, oh, I'll go for it because I seen the blue cover, and I knew that when I seen these covers on YouTube and other YouTubers showing them, they were quite literary books and quite interesting, quite different. So I thought, oh, I'll pick it up and try it, and I'm so glad I did, because when I came home, I started reading it and I got into like the first few part of it. I started to see similarities with this man and certain things that I would be like, and it's just about this guy's life, but also his mental illness and his obsessions with movies. And maybe it didn't sound interesting, maybe it sounds boring, but it definitely isn't. If you're into books about just what like people's lives and how they get on, this is a book that you get really deep into this guy's mind and his daily life, and it's not just like in a day or two. It goes with time. It goes through a good part of his life, and you're jumping back in the past from where he's in his bit of domestic abuse in his house from when he was a wee boy, and his family and his dad. And it gets deeper than what you think, but for a mental illness and for a book of empathy, which makes you feel for him or anybody else, it is a great book. And I took my time with it. I think it's not the biggest book. It's 180 odd pages, I think, or something. 100 and but I read this in a week. Just took my time and sat down when I get a bit of peace and read in this. And he's got me now wanting there's films and everything I want to watch now because of it. So I do. Hold on, my child shouting on me again, my wee girl. 2 seconds, I'll pause this. Oh, that's my kids in again. See me. What are you doing, Daddy? I'm not even going to be bothered editing and stuff like that. I'm trying to make it more just go with the flow of these books, because there's not many people watching anyway. Maybe when I get a bit more into it, and I'll maybe start to go in front of the camera, edit things out, and do that. But at the minute, it's just me rambling, keeping logs of these books on the internet, so I can come back to. And if anybody does find it, hopefully I recommend some people and maybe some person to pick up a book and they enjoy it as well. And if they want to have a discussion about a certain book, they can comment to me and have a bit of a discussion going on that, because it's I love reading. I've been reading for years, and it's something that I don't really get to talk to you about with a lot of my family and friends, because there's not many people I know that would be avid readers like myself, reading these sort of books. And so yeah, as I say, I might do my next video might be one about the books I'm hoping to read in 2026, so I'll do that sometime soon. And I'm also reading a book, and I'll probably bring up a review soon of The Impusium, which I'm having mixed feelings about. It's good writing, we'll just say that at the minute. It's great writing. I'm halfway through roughly, but I'll have a review of that up at some stage. And yeah, cheerio.